So this is part 2 of a 2-part series, and what we've been covering have been the most common myths and misconceptions that people have in the area of collegiate athletic recruiting and specifically college athletic scholarships and how they work. So let's get on with counting them down. Myth number 6, athletes get 4 years of eligibility, therefore my scholarship is a 4-year deal. Yeah, this is actually false. It is true that athletes get 4 years of eligibility, but the athletic scholarship that you're on is a 1-year renewable contract. It's a 1-year deal, not a 4-year deal. Now, I'm not trying to freak you out or anything. In all likelihood, if you do your job and you're productive and all that stuff, when you get to the end of the year, your coach is going to roll your scholarship over to the next year. And in all likelihood, if you don't engage in a bunch of knuckleheaded behavior, you'll have that scholarship for 4 years. But that scholarship is a 1-year deal, not a 4-year deal. And also, if you do engage in a bunch of knuckleheaded behavior, there's absolutely a chance that your coach could get you to the end of the year and say, done, we're just not going to do this anymore, and not renew your scholarship going into that following year. And that is because, again, athletic scholarships are 1-year renewable contracts. Myth number 7, my coach has connections and will get me recruited. Maybe, maybe not. But I think your coach should absolutely be a part of your team. I think your coach should be a part of your overall recruiting strategy. But I always think it's a mistake for high school athletes to solely make their high school coach their recruiting strategy. There's a lot more that goes into it than just that. And you need to understand that you have a very central role in this. And you got to understand, look, coaches are busy. I mean, God, I was one. God knows, I know. And sometimes things don't go according to plan. The good coaches, they're absolutely going to do what they can to help you. But again, I'm back to that idea. There's a very central role that you play. And right now, you need to be learning what you need to do. And again, I mentioned this earlier. I've got a completely free walkthrough that walks you through everything that you need to be doing right now. And so, yeah, get your hands on that. But yes, again, your coach should be part of your strategy, but I don't think it's a good move for you to make your coach your entire strategy. You just got too much riding on this. Think about it this way. Your coach's involvement is one leg of a 4-legged table. You should look at your coach's involvement as one leg of that table. There are other legs that are equally important, and if all you do is turn to your coach and rely on your coach as your whole recruiting strategy, I'm telling you, you're leaving other very important parts of the process out. Myth number 8, college camps or college showcases will get me recruited. Maybe, maybe not. Just as I mentioned with your high school coach, you would want to use a college camp or a college showcase as, it's just another leg of the table. It's another recruiting opportunity. It's at its best, it's going to be a chance for you to maybe make a contact or possibly to get noticed. But there's a lot of, and look, there's a lot of benefits to them. I mean, you're going to learn a new set of skills. You're going to meet a lot of really cool people who are also playing your sport. I mean, I used to run a college camp. I think they're great, but you got to keep them in their proper place. And again, I think it should be part of your overall strategy, but not the entire strategy. And you also have to realize that when that college camp or that college showcase ends, there's a lot of time between then and when you would actually legitimately find yourself recruited. And a lot of times, no matter what the coach says to you there on the spot, for that coach also, there's a lot of time for them to potentially bump into other kids that they may consider at a later date. So again, just use it as an opportunity, but I wouldn't bet the farm on it. Myth number 9, I've joined an athletic recruiting service and that's what's going to get me recruited. Maybe, maybe not. Just as the other two, like involving your high school coach or really taking a hard look at a camp or a clinic, involving an athletic recruiting service can be one part of your overall strategy, but it shouldn't be your only part of the strategy, regardless of what some of those recruiting services will tell you. And so here's the deal with recruiting services. Number 1, you're going to pay money to be involved with them, without a doubt. And you need to really take a look at what kind of athlete you are, what your goals goals are, what type of school you're hoping to land at, and and what they can do for you. And that's the thing about athletic recruiting services. That's the question that I have. I mean, what can they really do for you? I can tell you point blank, when I was coaching, there was not one time in my 20 years did I ever sign a kid based on anything that a recruiting service said, or whether or not they were a recruiting service kid or not. The recruiting services have absolutely zero sway. They don't have any they don't have any real pull in terms of whether or not you get a scholarship or not, because again, I can tell you, I did my recruiting. I chose who I added to my team. There wasn't an outside source that was going to. I had to feel really, really good about that. And that was something that I felt. It wasn't something that I got from a recruiting service. And so now, I sometimes will get a little bit of a rep for being completely anti-recruiting service, and I'm not. I do think that some of them can be beneficial if they're helping you with exposure. That's really about it. And, but I think the more important thing is that you have a really good, rock solid plan in terms of what you're trying to do. And again, I'll plug, right down here at the bottom, I've got a completely free resource, a walkthrough that I know for a fact a lot of recruiting services literally try to charge thousands of dollars for very similar, if not the same information. And I give mine away for free because, number one, this is what I did for 20 years and I know it just works. I know this is the stuff. And also I give it away for free just because I can, because the stuff that I do and what athletic recruiting services do, we do very different things. And so I can kind of afford to just say, here, take this for free, this amazing, really good plan. But, I will say that, again, in terms of the level, I think a lot of your smaller schools, you may have some coaches who actually use recruiting services that may check out the profiles and things like that, but you're going to have to pay to have those profiles in most cases. But I do think some of your smaller coaches who don't have the budget money to get to certain tournaments, and they're just trying to widen as many kids that they're looking at as possible. And so I do think you may have some coaches who use them. So again, in no way do I think involving a recruiting service is necessarily a bad thing. I just think that it is something that should be part of an overall plan and not just your 100% plan. And finally, myth number 10, we have plenty of time. Well, do you? I mean, yes and no. I think the big thing is understanding that the sooner you start getting under the information, under what your role in all of this is going to be, the sooner you get under that, the better. That could be 6th grade, that could be 7th grade, that could be 8th grade. If you're back there, I do think you got plenty of time, but that's a time where as soon as this becomes a conscious idea in your head that, hey, we may do this down the road, you need to start learning what you're going to need to do, because there's usually a lot more to it than what the average person thinks. And so, no, I think assuming that you have all the time in the world is just really not a good idea. But yes, I think the younger your athlete is, again, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, the better. Now, am I saying that if you're a junior or even a senior that all is lost? Absolutely not. I do a lot of consulting and I work with a lot of people, and I'm going to tell you, the bulk of the people that I work with, juniors and seniors. But I think the people that really get their mind under this at the earlier, they're able to operate at all of this at an easier clip. And so, no, I don't think operating as if you have all the time in the world is ever a good plan. When it comes to this discussion on myths and misconceptions surrounding college athletic recruiting and just athletic scholarships in general, I hope you found this helpful and you got some value out of it. That was certainly my goal. Look, I want to wish you the absolute best of luck with everything that you're doing, your goals, certainly your grades, academics, and obviously your sport. We'll be turning around and having a really good discussion on this coming up soon, and we'll be looking forward to that. Best of luck with everything. Take care.